Whenever we talk about cyber research or cyber security, we go to security in depth, and the man at security in depth is Michael Connory. Welcome to The Informer.
Thanks, George.
1,000 things have been happening in this world of ours. Not much of it has been good, and as of late, over the last 24 hours, we've seen that one of the giants of the media world, namely Facebook, or Fakebook as some people are starting to refer it to because they're angry and disappointed, has pulled the pin on publishers and people who publish news in this country, and it's decided to say to them, remember who we are, and we're not here to publish your product. Fair or unfair?
Unfair. I think that you're just taking it from a personal, completely biased perspective. Facebook have provided media organisations across Australia and across the world a free platform. If you want to publish your information on there, great, go for it. But then to have the gall to ask for payment, I think that's a bit too much.
You're talking about the mainstream platforms.
I'm talking about the mainstream
platforms have asked via the government to pay a tax. And I've noticed that Channel 9 has won, it looks like, with Google, an opportunity to pay them, or to receive $30 million per year upon year, to allow Google to basically use their product and their publishing material. Now that's a big call, and that's tremendous for the Nine network, but are they going to do a deal with a bunch of the others? And what about the startups and the small companies like us, who we didn't put up our hand and say, you need to pay us to use our material, so why are we being punished? Why are we being banned from their platform?
You're being banned from their platform, Google, or from Facebook. From Google, Google is actually searching for your information. So yeah, there's an absolute right that you can claim compensation.
Okay.
They go out, they look for your information, they publish it on their platform, and then they say, well, pay us.
Okay.
For that privilege.
So you think there's a distinct difference between what Google does and what Facebook is doing and has been doing?
Absolutely.
So two very different models, although they look similar. Yeah. You're saying to me that the modus operandi, the way they do what they do, is very different.
It is.
Okay.
How
long does this ban go on for, do you think? Is it for as long as they want?
I think Facebook are going to continue to ban news publications on their platform for as long as it takes.
But they've also done it worldwide.
Australia is only 2% of...
Yes, but the product is now banned worldwide.
Really?
So none of the Facebook sites globally will receive anything from Australia.
That's because Australia are trying to
harness them.
Well, you could say harness them, essentially blackmail them. You are using... Facebook, you are publishing our information, pay us money. But that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is Facebook is saying, okay, you want to publish on us. If you choose to publish on us, we'll give you this platform for free.
Okay.
And yet...
But if you demand a recompense, then we'll deal with you accordingly. Dealing with you accordingly is a ban.
And that's fair.
Okay.
If you want me to pay you to publish your information, I'm not going to do it.
So what's next? Do we find a brand new social media platform that will allow us to do what we've been doing for the better part of the last year or so on Facebook?
Technology is incredible. And over the last year in particular, we've seen technology change the world in different ways. 18 months ago, Zoom was a small little company that did video communications. Now, it's a global platform where almost every business in the world utilises it.
I've seen the arrival of a brand new product through an app on Apple. It's called Clubhouse, and it's going gangbusters because suddenly 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk decided to drop in and have a chat about 1,000 different things, and people went, wow. And from nowhere, this has been around for about a year, its value at the moment has been put at $1 billion because it gives you access to celebrities and to people that you wouldn't readily get access to. Mind you, you have to be invited, hence the term Clubhouse. And there's a myriad of other products that we're hearing.
are
on the way.
Absolutely.
Signal is also challenging people.
You know, WhatsApp is being replaced by Signal and by other pieces of technology.
And isn't WhatsApp part of Facebook?
I believe so.
Yeah. So interesting that Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, it's become this trinity. This threesome that want to do, gather as much information as possible. Very hard for us to, because human nature is you like something, you stay with it. Yeah, it's a bit like you vote for someone, you're stuck with him until they make a myriad of mistakes, and then you go, look, I've had enough of you. So what do you believe we can do? Those of us who've been left on the outside and are banned on Facebook. Do we look for greener pastures somewhere else?
There will be greener pastures. Greener pastures will absolutely appear. But here's what's interesting.
Okay.
The interesting component of this is that you're talking about the technology companies being dominant and controlling. But what about the media companies? The media companies have been lobbying the government for the better part of 10 years to be able to get this legislation in, because the media companies want to solidify their piece of the pie. They want to be able to make sure that their ability to communicate and to hold the market is not intentional.
Some hold on the market. Look, they're an alien platform, we know that, and they've reached out and gone to streaming to create some sort of relevance, yeah? Because mainstream television, as we knew it, is limited. It's finite. Whereas the markets that are growing, and it's the markets that the media companies have decided it's their best operational way of still making money, is streaming. So they'll show you a product on free-to-air. If you like it, they rush it to streaming, and they say you can watch the whole series, but you're going to have to sit through all the ads. Can't fast forward streaming. Can you, Michael?
You can't fast forward.
So, just as we find a way to get through the ads, along comes a new technology that demands us to pause, watch the ads, and then enjoy the program.
And this is what I'm talking about. You're talking about technology versus media. They need to come together. And at some point of time, that's the challenge. You've got two massive, global powerhouses wanting to exert their influence. And
Muhammad and the mountain.
And at the moment, Australia is the playing field.
Is the play field, and they're being squeezed.
And the Australian government.
Do you have a prediction about what happens? Where will we be in a week's time?
In a week's time, Facebook will still have not allowed news. Google will have become very quiet and sitting in the background, watching, very comfortable with where they're at. Over the next 24 hours, the news media will be jumping up and down and talking about how bad Facebook is, how incredibly powerful the technology companies are, and that they need to be reined in, forgetting how Trump and politicians around the world have utilised the media, not just technology, but the media for their own ends.
It's an interesting world, isn't it?
It's a very interesting world.
And a very interesting society. Michael Connory, as always, very, very good to have you in the studio. To always talk about subject matter. Cyber security and cyber research is something you guys actually not only hang your hat on, but you take it to the next level.
Yep.
And just before you go, is there anything that's cropped up that we need to take on board? Because I've noticed that there are more and more calls being made to my phone that I don't need to take, and more importantly, I shouldn't be accepting.
What we've seen is that over the last 6 months in particular, cyber criminals are now starting to utilise phones as a form of phishing.
Yep.
As a way of being able
to harvest. If you take the call and realise there's a problem, what should you do?
Hang up, block the number.
But
the challenge there is that they've got your number, they know you've answered.
Right.
So forever you will be in
their circuit.
In their circuit. So unless you change your phone number, which really sucks.
Well, the worst part about that is your phone number is almost your brand.
It is.
I've had the number for a lifetime. So do I really want to challenge myself and change a new number? Yeah.
So now
the other
thing about this is you'll suddenly start to receive texts from unknown numbers, but with George,
Bill Smith and Co.
Yeah, saying, hey, look, here is the link that I promised you, and you click on it. First rule of cybersecurity: don't click.
Don't click. All right. Thank you for making us think for a second time before we press that button. Michael Connory from Security in Depth, as always, giving us the best information about an array of different challenges that are facing us each and every time we reach to the internet to do any work or even take on the opportunity to do some play, because I know people, and you know these people, I think the children involved as well, they love playing games.
Absolutely.
Are we seeing cyber criminals getting into that side of things too?
Cyber criminals are deep within the gaming community.
Are they?
They're harvesting children's information. They're harvesting information about,
Can they access the children while they're playing those games?
Oh, absolutely.
So how do we protect them?
It's very difficult. You have to have better regulations on the games. You have to have better regulations and moderators within the discussions that go on.
What about you as a parent? What would you say? What would you do? How can you arm your system at home or your system anywhere else to protect them?
Well, the biggest challenge is not the technology. The technology is always going to be vulnerable.
Right.
It's just naturally vulnerable.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a way around it. Somebody's always going to find a way. The best thing that you can do is you can talk to your kids, start to have conversations, start to teach them about being cyber safe.
Easier said than done.
No.
Easier said than done. When they get focused about something and it's a chance to go to the next level in a game, for example, that could be where the danger lurks.
That's true, but the challenge about that is that if they know that the way somebody communicates or the way what the information that they're putting into the system is personal, then they're more likely to not do it.
Right, the stakes change.
The stakes change.
Thank you, Michael. Michael Connory on TheInformer. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, George.